Hi, water sign Cancer. This is Carrie at wooingnature.life. I hope everything is going well for you. This is your reading for June 2020. I hope that you are well. I hope that everything is going smoothly and that you are processing through the changes that are happening around you. So I'm keeping that in mind and bearing that in mind. Everything that I have been watching in terms of the astrology and just the energy in general, it is all about transition. We are clear about that. We are still moving our way out of the coronavirus period of our collective lives. And we are still looking at how we're going to move forward. That process is your own. It is as individual as it is collective. And so understanding yourself, being clear about what it is that you want, desire, need, specifically your needs. And when I talk about needs, I'm not just talking about food, water, shelter, clothing. We know those are needs, but we're also talking about your emotional needs, your spiritual needs, your physical needs, as well as what you need mentally to stay mentally focused. And so in looking at the astrology, Pluto, Saturn, lots of planets, I'm also looking at the moon constantly and helping you get updated with that through the new moon and the full moon view so that you will know how things are moving in the universe around you, because that is the way. That is how we're going to be moving forward. So when we start talking about the new normal, you're going to start seeing the shape of that and the structure around that right now. And that is just something to think about. So without further ado, I know I'm belaboring a little bit, but I just want to kind of keep you all up to date, Cancer. Today I am going to be reading from the Sibyl's Oraculum. So this is a very different system. It is not a tarot system. It is a 44 card system. So if you are into numerology, then you'll know what that means. It's about building, but building from a spiritual base. So that will give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about with that. So I'm going to start out with Sibyl's Oraculum and just let's get some spiritual foundation and let's see where we are and see what some next steps are, and we'll be doing that with that set. I'm also going to be reading today from Deborah Koch Chapin's soul cards. These are also not tarot cards. Some people are not into tarot, or they don't, want to be read with tarot cards, that kind of thing. These I really love, and I've been following Deborah Koch for a long time. And a matter of fact, I'll probably do an art of the deck for this deck. But it's purely art. It is an art form that she has coined and has, I'm not going to say created, but it's a form that she's associated with for sure. And she's done a lot of work and honestly healing work around it. One of them are the soul cards, and then the soul cards too. So we'll be reading from those. And then I think we're going to focus on work. This month, we focused on love and relationships. We talked about how to communicate well with our relationships, the people that are around us, and just kind of pull some cards around that. But this month, I'm going to focus on work, and so therefore, I will be reading from the Steampunk Tarot, because that's my work deck. Whenever people want to talk about work and career, I pull those out. And then I'm going to follow up at the end with some animal cards. I normally don't read animal cards because I like to work with animals in nature itself. Like I like to, when I'm working with other people, I like to see the animals show up in nature itself rather than use the cards. But just so that we can get a focal point for our energy, or maybe even look at the types of people, like the types of folks that are around us, kind of like how we did archetypes last month. Then I'll pull a few of those too. All right, Cancer. All right, I'm not going to slow it down anymore. I am going to go ahead and start reading from the Sibyls. So with the Sibyl's Oraculum, there's like I said, four sets of 11 cards. You pull one from each deck. One from the black deck, one from the red, one from the blue, one from the red. And I will be reading these straight intuitively today because it is a rather long process. This system is based on my understanding is the teachings and the wisdom of African women. So these are some pretty old ancient systems. Okay. All right, good. All right, we'll pull one from the blue and then one from the red. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking while I'm pulling one from the blue and one from the red. The first card up is unity. Unity. So right now what I want you to do is think about where things need to come together, Cancer, where there needs to be a joining of forces. I'm seeing two birds drinking from the same cup. So we're talking about communing and communion. So where two or more are gathered, then you need to pay attention to that and also be mindful of who you are connecting with. So when it is time to commune, when it's time to come together, and that can be with one other person or two or three or many, it doesn't matter where you find yourself in communion with other people, in other words, drinking from the same cup, dipping from the same well, then you'll want to think about that. Or you'll want to be paying attention to that during the month of June. All right, and then the second card I have is complexity. So there's some complexities, and I can't help but see this heart in the middle of this. It looks like a heart. It looks like there's a fire. We talked about that. Um, um, the element of fire being about inspiration, that which inspires you. It really comes from a spirit place, or that which is the unknown. Now, depending on your particular beliefs, it may be about inspiration coming from on high. It might just be an idea that you have, but it's something that your heart is feeling or that your heart is connecting to, and you need to allow your heart to lead you in that regard. So there may even be some other people who are sharing your vision. I think it's interesting that this card is complexity. I think it's interesting that this card is talking about complexity because, the heart is a simple thing. It just beats. It just is in there. It's just beating, and it just beats all the time. You know what I'm saying? It does the same thing all the time. It's really not complex, but at the same time it is. Um, if you want to avoid that, then follow your heart. Okay? Um, I would also say that if there is a situation where you feel overwhelmed by the complexities that are involved in what you're doing right now, that you would still go and follow your heart. I just think that's just the bottom line there. All right, so the red and the blue card in this deck indicate things that you should do, either things that you need to do internally or things that you need to actually do physically. This one says prioritizing, so you should be prioritizing your skill set and what you're doing. What is the most important thing for you to be doing at this time? And that means you, Cancer. That doesn't mean other people. It means you. So getting centered is getting centered is important. It is very important. And then the other thing is nurturing. Nurturing yourself. Taking care of yourself. Self-care. What I'm getting is that you need to do this first. You need to nurture yourself first, Cancer, because as you're nurturing yourself, you will know how to prioritize what's going on in your life. And the complexity is coming from this connection that you're making. Unity is about connecting. It is about connection, but I think that that's where some of that is coming from. So you need to prioritize your task. You have to really you have to be thinking about what it is that you are expending the most time doing and whether or not that is following what your heart wants to do. You got to be able to see the difference between the two. And the thing is, the self-care and the nurturing of yourself and taking care of yourself. And when I say taking care of yourself, I mean for real, like physically, you know, going and taking a Calgon bath, sitting out in the sun, drink your mint julep, I mean, really, really, really. You do a facial, whatever it is that you need to do that brings life to you, because as that is happening and as you are doing those things, then the way to prioritize is going to come to you, because you're going to be like, wait a minute, I am, just, uh, you know, I'm too sexy for my shirt. Why I'm worried about the shirt. So that's the thing. And I think that there's a couple of things happening here. You're learning about this. You're learning about who to commune with and who to connect with and what these connections bring. You're learning about that. But there's some depth to it. And the way to get to the depth or get past the depth part is to allow your heart to be in that space where where it just leads. Because your heart is not going to lead you wrong. It's not going to steer you wrong. And it's going to steer you in exactly the right direction that it needs to go in, even if you don't think it does. It just does. So you just have to let go and surrender. But you are learning something about how to work with people, though, Cancer. That's what you're learning. You're learning who to sip from the cup with. You don't share a glass with everybody. You don't. You ain't gonna let everybody just put their lips up on your glass, are you, Cancer? You not. So think about that in your dealings, in your life dealings. Is this somebody I'm gonna let them drink up out my glass or not? I might not let you drink up out my glass. I might not do. Where you been? Yeah, so that's what that's about. All right, I'm moving right along. I'm moving to the soul cards. I think I said I was pulling 3 soul cards. So 3 soul cards, please, for Cancer. And then we'll go to the work cards. And then after we go to the work cards, then I'm going to pull these animal spirits and see where they're going to lead us, okay? So 3 cards from the soul connection. There we go already. All right. All right, so I'm already seeing right here that there's something that you see that you're aware of, right? But you're not letting other people know that you're aware of it. It's something that you know, it's something that you are aware of, but part of yourself you're keeping hidden because, I don't know, maybe you're scared, or maybe you're cautious. You're being very cautious, Cancer. You're being very cautious. Okay, so it's something that you want to bring out, or it's something that you... hold on one second. Let me get my card up off the floor. So it's something that it's something that you have your sights on, but you're cautious. You're being very cautious about it. And so it keeps a part of you hidden. And I think that maybe you need to ask yourself, do you need to hide that part or not? Because maybe you don't need to hide that part anymore. Here it is right here. Okay? So what is this you're hiding behind? And what is it keeping hidden that people can't see? Because, I don't know. People might not, they might not be drawn to just part of you. They might need to see the whole thing. And then I'm getting that you need to speak out here, but you might need to know when. And I do understand that situation, because you do have to know when to speak and when not to speak. So it could be that. And then in this card here, I'm seeing a breakout. I'm seeing an unfolding of sorts. I feel like this is your ascension process because it's happening from the third eye perspective. I'm seeing that it's happening during your sleep. It may be things that are happening in your sleep, how they're opening you up. So you may be want to be watchful of your dreams or keep a journal of your dreams. But also, if you're not dreaming at all, if you're a dreamer and you're not dreaming at all, it could be because they're shutting you down so that they can give you this information. Now, sometimes if you wake up with impressions, like you hear things, or you wake up with something on your mind, it could be a song, could be a phrase, anything like that, then you're probably getting your downloads in your sleep. And that's what I'm getting right here, Cancer, for you, is that you're probably getting them in your sleep. And in your sleep, you're actually being shown what you can do in the spirit that the physical body will inhibit, but it's also showing you how you can translate that into the physical. And that's what you want to be paying attention to in your dream space. Like, I hope that makes sense. Um, yeah, here it is right here. This is you speaking your truth. Remember, I said it's something about I feel like you need to be speaking, or you need to be speaking up, or you need to be talking out. Here it is right here. But you have to come from a place of innocence, not from a place of knowing. Like, sometimes you can think you know something, but that's not the approach. Because actually, if you speak from a place of innocence or a place of not knowing, then you can actually learn more. You can be more open, right? Because you're being a sponge, you're being like a child. Children, how they say children are like sponges? That's because they're open. They're wide open. They're not judging things. They're just like having the experience. So that's how you have to be, and that's how you have to come across, but you have to rekindle that. You're going to have to rekindle that because sometimes we get old in our approach. You know what I'm saying? And it's because we think we know something. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. All right, so that is the soul cards there, and that is the Sybil. So we're dealing with some complexities around some relationships, or it could be around people that you were. I feel like it's with people either you work with or in big groups of people. So you want to just kind of be watchful of that. And it could be a one-on-one situation too, to be honest with you. But the main thing is to, like I said, watch who you gonna let drink out your cup. All right, there that is. All right, let's go to steampunk. We're talking about work, career, Cancer's work. Excuse me. Cancer's work, Cancer's career, business ventures, anything related to the world of work and career focus for Cancer for the month of June. Month of June, all the Cancer watchers, followers, Cancer watchers and followers. All right, so the first card out is the Fool. The Fool is the beginning of things. It is the one that steps out on faith. Remember when we talked about the innocent coming with an air of innocence when you're speaking and when you're communicating? That's that Fool energy, right? The Fool doesn't have to be a fool, an idiot, or anything like that. It's somebody who is willing to step out on faith, and it's also somebody who's fairly adventurous, so you have to get your adventure on. You do have help, you do have companionship, and you do have ideas. There are things that are inspiring you, and honestly, what's inspiring you the most is what's behind you that has been destroyed. You know what I'm saying? The things that haven't gone well. So you're in hermit mode right now. A lot of us have been in hermit mode, so you're not alone. Right, Cancer? But the hermit mode is a good place to be in because it's when you are able to go inside yourself and find your own light. That's what the hermit card is all about. You're moving in your own pace, in your own way. You are reestablishing your boundaries and your bottom lines for yourself because it's just you. You're not comparing yourself to somebody else. You're not competing with anybody else. You're not doing what other people are doing. You are not trying to keep up with the Joneses. You don't care about the Joneses because the Joneses are nowhere around you. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, inside yourself, right? Inside your mind. So it's all about finding your light and understanding what your light is all about and your inner power. And people throw that word power around a lot, and we shouldn't throw it around that much because really we know to whom the power belongs. But that which you have within you that you can work with in order to exact change in your life. So right now, as far as your work and career situation is concerned, this is a start over, and it implies that you really need to understand who you are on the inside before you move forward with anything. And that's you moving forward. This is you contemplating the next move. But before you contemplate the next move, you've got to really be 100% clear. And when I say 100% clear, things change all the time, right? You can be 100% clear about yourself from now until 3 months from now, and then 3 months from now, all of a sudden you're not clear anymore. Well, that's when you need to go back into meditation and go back into the hermit mode. But the hermit mode is there for you to be clear about what it is that you are envisioning, what it is that you are trying to manifest for yourself. And you are in a position to manifest. It's in your hands. But you have to be clear about what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, you'll just be standing on this podium for a very long time with your light. And we don't want, if that's not what you want to happen, fine. Now, everything has its own divine timing. You can't rush it. You can't force it. You have to just go with the flow. But the proposition of there being new things on the horizon is there because the Two of Wands is in the reading. Excuse me. So I'm seeing an offer being made here. There's an offer here with the Six of Cups. Something that you like, something that is something that matches your spirit, your energy, right? Something that is kind of just for you. You know what I'm saying? It's got your name written all over it. It suits you. That's what I'm saying. So there is an offer coming in as far as the work is concerned. There's an offer coming in. Something that suits you, that's appropriate for you. There are other things, but there's one thing that's really suitable for you, and you'll know what that is. Cancer, you're going to know what that is. And then of course we have the Chariot here, which is about the movement. So it looks like this is the order for you. Okay, if you're still in hermit mode, cool, just kind of stay right there and relax in the space, because the one thing about the hermit mode is that when it's time for you to come out, you'll know, and you'll start behaving differently. You don't have to worry about, oh, how long am I going to be a recluse? You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is just kind of be in that space and get what you need to get out of it. And when the time comes, you will feel compelled to move out of that space. Slowly but surely, kind of like the soft reopening. I'm not going to talk about that. All right, so we got the World here coming in along with Strength in reverse. So I'm seeing us going back to this thing about the balance and the unity and whatever that we were talking about before with the Sibyls. I'm seeing that in relationship to this, to the complexities that are related to these connections that you're making with other people. There are some complexities there, and this World card tells me that there's an ending. So we have the Fool, which is the very first card of the tarot, and then we have the World, which is the very last card, and then we have that coupled and coming out with Strength in reverse. So there may be some there's some closure that needs to happen. It's closure that is associated with a wound. I'm seeing this wound right here. There's an old wound. It could be an old heartbreak. It could be probably emotional wound, or it's either something somebody said that got you thinking in a certain way that you didn't need to be thinking, or whatever. That may have thrown you off, but you have to forgive that and move on, because it's time to end that so that you can start this process, right? As far as the work is concerned. So I don't know, some of you guys may have been dealing with it could be a boss, or it could be a supervisor, something to that effect. It feels like a set of lessons or something. You're coming to the end of a set of lessons, and there was some when I say wounding, it could be somebody said something to you wrong or off, or it could be that you have had some kind of interaction or experience with someone else in the workplace or in relationship to your work, whatever it is, um, that you're having to work through and deal with because you have to have the inner strength. It's something like, you know how when somebody will tell you something, you're going along in your journey and you're kind of doing your thing, and then somebody will say something to you to make you think that you're not on the right track. And so then you start questioning that, and then you start behaving according to the questioning, but not in accordance with what you were designed to do, like what you had set out doing in the beginning. So then you start learning those lessons, and then after a while you come back full circle. See, that's the world. You come back full circle, and when you come full circle, it's like I knew what I was doing the whole time. But in the process of that, what happened is you strengthened your sense of resolve. You strengthened your understanding of your own gut instincts. You know, you learned that following your inclinations, your nudges, is better than following somebody else's mouth. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's something that is, you're coming to the end of a cycle on, and it is in relationship to work. I feel like it probably has something to do with somebody discouraging you in some way. Maybe you had an idea or a concept that you're trying to build on. It could be an entrepreneurial effort, or it could be just something that you wanted to do at work, a project, and somebody shot it down or something like that, and then you kind of got off of it because you felt like, oh, well, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But then you found out you did know what you were talking about. And you're like, why did I go through all of that? Well, you went through all of that so that you could gain a certain level of strength around, um, whatever was involved in all of that. It is what it is. You live and you learn, and then you buy loves. That was a plug. Five of Swords here. Again, I'm seeing conflict there, so I feel like that's this. I feel like that's this, and I also feel like that's this. What's going on here? The complexities in relationship to work. There are a fair amount of them, but this hermiting is going to help you, because what that's going to do is draw you closer to this offer. Because whatever this is that's going on in this work situation, I'm seeing either two work situations or you're having to balance two or something. But whatever's going on in this one that needs to end so that you can have your new beginning, you need to just kind of get past that. It's some one-upmanship. It's somebody, I can't stand these like little situations, but it's some kind of one-upmanship. It's a power play type situation. It's what it is, and it puts you in a situation where you're the low man on the totem pole, and somebody else is the big dog, or whatever it is. Um, there's other people who around you who realize and know that is happening, and y'all are in the same shape, but you're probably not communicating with each other. That goes back to the unity thing. That also goes back to who you allow to drink from your cup. You got to think about that. All right. Anything else about work in June? Work, career related advice? Anything about that? The good thing about it is we are talking about movement here. We are talking about getting off the fence. So if for those of you who are really looking to do some transitioning as far as work is concerned, that is in the cards for you. Literally, I'm seeing it here. But there's some other little things you want to process well through, because then when you get to the next thing, you won't have to worry about having to repeat that lesson. That's all. But the lesson is about power playing, and it's about listening to yourself and letting that be the driving force behind what it is that you do next. Anything else, please? We've got a Knight of Swords in reverse. So to me, that tells me you've been in the cold, kind of out in the cold by yourself, doing your thing, trying to fight the good fight on your own, in hostile territory, okay? Not friendly territory. But you were fortified. You had what you needed. You know what I'm saying? And help is on the way. But I feel like you just have to really know that that is the case, and really sense it, and also continue to go through this process until you get there. Okay, so here's the skinny. This process, right? You're waiting for the right offer. In the process of your hermiting, you are getting clear about what it is that you're asking for and wanting and needing more than anything. And you are also finishing up this lesson, which deals with some kind of hurt feeling thing about work. At the end of the day, it's probably more about ego. You know, your ego might have been bruised more than anything, or you might be feeling some kind of way, okay, about something that's happened, but it's not major, right? But it is still something that triggers you emotionally, and you just need to deal with where the trigger point is so that you won't be kicking up that kind of dust later on when you're trying to have a smooth sailing experience. Okay? All right, next we go into the animals. Let's see what the animals have to say. Oh, wow. Woo. We're starting out with the owl. All right. I'm going to pull some more. That one happened so fast. All right, Cancer, we got owl energy. I'll read the back of that card in just a second, but already I can tell you that the owl is a nighttime predator animal. Sometimes that scares people, but that's what it is. The owl is associated with secret schools, mystery schools, knowledge of the unknown, the unseen world. They know how to navigate the unseen world. They know how to navigate the darkness. They do it in silence. They are silent carrion birds. They are. If you've ever been around an owl, or if you've ever had the privilege of hearing an owl in flight, it's quiet. You don't hear anything. So silence, that goes back to that hermit card that we talked about, is important part of you being able to see and hear in the spirit. And so you should be moving silently, Cancer. Not with a whole lot of noise. The owl is a nocturnal bird strongly associated with the moon and the feminine energy. She's also traditionally been associated with the dark sexual energy and is a powerful feminine symbol. So add that to the intuitive reading. Of course, we know that owls are known as seers as well, because they can turn their head and see all in all directions. Any other animal spirits? The other thing is to be watchful of the owl people around you. Not watchful, but just aware that you may have owl people around you, or you yourself may be the owl spirit present in this reading. I feel like it's you. All right. We have, to go with the owl, the raven, yet another animal associated with mystery teachings and mystery schools and secrets of the unknown mysteries of the world, that kind of thing. The raven is also associated with death. Death also associated with that card, the world, that we said that you got to come to the end of a phase. So the raven is associated with that realm as well. This one says that the raven is associated with creation and magic and illumination. Powerful magic. And the symbolism parallels that of the coyote in Native American tradition, which is like a trickster spirit of sorts, but a very divine teacher. So be watchful of the teachings that, and when I say watchful, not in a negative way, but be on the lookout, be observant of any teachings that are coming. Oh, I'm seeing some writing happening here, and I'm also seeing that writing is coming from a feminine place, from a water space, or a feminine space, or a womanly space. It's coming from a well. could also be coming from emotional space. So journaling is how you're going to connect to this energy, this Raven energy in the month of June. You need to be journaling and being around water. And that's when your eye opens up. That's what I'm getting. You need to be journaling and around water. And the thing, you're journaling and you're around water. And that's when your eyes are going to open up around this Raven energy. That's when your Raven energy gets awakened. And this owl energy, this owl energy is when we're talking about the owl, being able to see, being able to move in the darkness, move quietly. That's in relationship to what you're building, what you're working on, and what you're building. As far as your work is concerned as well. It could be an actual building. Some of you might be thinking about building a new house or building a new edifice, but that can come in different forms because, see, sometimes when you're building a house in the physical, it's because you're building a house in your spiritual as well. So it could be spiritual building, or it could be actual physical building, or it could be the building of anything, but anything building related, that you're there's a foundation on it, and now you're going forward with the next level of building. That's what that's about. So that's why you need to be moving quietly, because you know when you're still in the building phase and you put your mouth on stuff and then people ain't running their mouth about things, they can cause complexities. Just saying. Any other animal spirits that we need to be aware of? Animal spirit, energy. That's for my girl Lulu. We got the fox. Here's the fox right here. The fox is cunning, sexuality, and creativity. The fox is like a coyote. Fox is a sly son of a gun. They're wise and they're wily. This can go both ways for you, Cancer. It could be somebody who's around you who is wily. Look that word up. Okay? They know how to maneuver. We usually associate people who have manipulative energy with the fox. Okay? But the fox can also be you using that level of wit. They can be witty as well, or you being able to be about your wits. So the fox is not a bad guy, but it's just how the energy gets used. How the energy is used. Some people use this energy to manipulate people and have people doing all kinds of shit that they don't need to do. Right? Because it benefits them. That's one kind of fox. But the other kind of fox is when you use your savvy, you use your street sense and your common sense and your intelligence to get around a situation. So wherever you sit with that, Cancer, you know where to go. Just letting you know. All right. So that is that. We don't have anything else coming out there. That is your reading for the month of June, Cancer. We appreciate you. We love you. If you would like to get your own personal Sybil's Oraculum reading to kind of help you get some direction on your life, or if you want any other kind of reading, just reach out to me. I'm at Carrie@wooingnature.life. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're having a wonderful life.